Hello, hello. Today we are working on two various different kinds of alignment when it comes to building a business. And so today, the work that we're going to talk about is going to be more about high level thinking and how different aspects of our business kind of play and how to create a sense of alignment here. So before we get into that, there's a couple things that I want to tell you. So first is the Unconditional Wealth Retreat is coming up every year. I do a retreat. Sometimes I do two. And they're luxury retreats where we do some really, really awesome deep work. And so this will actually come January. So 2026, we will be working on some advanced level mindset work that's good to decondition, more or less to make your mind the tool that it could be in terms of creating the reality, the business, the life that you want. So let me tell you a little bit about the villa. So we will be in Tamarindo, Costa Rica. We have a beautiful villa with a little pool. Well, I don't know how big the pool is actually, but it's a sweet ass pool. We have a private chef that's coming to cook our meals, and we have some adventures planned, and also we will do the work. So if you've been wanting to work with me, I'll tell you that retreats are the most cost-effective way to get to work closely with me because, obviously you have to pay for the luxury vacation on top of it, but in terms of like the value for what you get, it's super, super top notch. So if you click if you check into the show notes, there will be a link to the retreat and you can take a peek at the pictures and see if it's a good fit for you. All right. So the second thing is Limitless Wealth is my hybrid mastermind program, a hybrid one-on-one coaching / mastermind. And that is also open. And so Limitless Wealth is good for any woman who's in the process of scaling her business. And what we're doing in this program is there's so much growth and expansion that comes when we're scaling our business because it's like our little soul, our soul wants to grow and expand while our little human animal wants to stay safe and in what's unfamiliar. And that internal tension between our soul expanding and our human being wanting to keep us safe and small really drums up a lot of bullshit when it comes to scaling your business. And so we work on the business side, we work on the strategies and that sort of thing. And then we work on you becoming the person who can handle, the level of responsibility, the level of success, the money coming into your business. And so anyways, if that's something that you need support in, also go to the show notes. You can get a link and book a 10x business expansion session with me. And then we can put together essentially a plan for you to execute and like a personal growth plan. So that way you can actually be the version of yourself that can hold it. Right. And then the third thing is that soon we will be announcing a new offer that is going to be for people earlier in their businesses, people who are not necessarily scaling quite yet, but still want that really big money. All right. So those are my announcements for today. So let me talk to you about alignment when it comes to business. All right. So there's two different segments of alignment that I want to talk to you about. So some of this is going to be like yourself, that like what's in it for me, and some of it's going to be like and what's in it for the clients. All right. So what I would suggest when you're getting started and deciding, do I want a business, or, even if you already have a business, but it's time to make some upgrades, one of the things to really consider is, how do I want my business to fund my life goals? How do I want my business to fit in with my lifestyle? How often do I want to be working? How do I want this business to feel? Right? Because those kinds of questions are what helps us to set the boundaries around our work. And the reason why this is important is because businesses are fat, greedy little monsters. And if you have unlimited, like, they will eat every dollar that they have access to. They will eat every minute that they have access to. They will take everything that they have access to. And so this is really important to set boundaries around, like, all right, well, this is how much money I want to make. This is how many hours I want to work. This is what I'm willing to do. This is what I'm not willing to do, because this helps us to set some boundaries, and it's really boundaries within ourselves. That's really what we're doing. But when we frame this out, we can set our business up in a way where then we don't have to cut it back, right? It's easier to set the business up the way that you want it to be and grow it in that shape, already planned. Pruning can happen. And that's like part of a scaling process, and pruning is going to be important. in many different aspects. But if you can set up your business like the way that you want it to be, the way that you want to work from the get-go. And I do want to point out that if you're new, sometimes you'll have to put more work in at the beginning, and then you can end up at the place where maybe, like a lot of my clients want to work like a 4-hour day. That's a huge part of what we're doing in Limitless Wealth. They want that lifestyle, right? They don't want to be working a zillion hours. Like they want to travel. They want to be able to take time off, right? So this is the important stuff. This is like our lives. All right. Now, that life goal. So I'm going to go down like our greedy side first, and then we'll go over the client side and the other side. All right. So we want to get really clear on what are my life goals. And with this, I also want you to set some financial goals. Like if you want to be doing luxury travel twice a year, you're probably going to need $30,000 for your travel, right? Like how much does your life cost? What do you want to be doing? How much do you want to be investing for retirement or for other things, right? And so this really helps us to set the goal, right? Of like, how much, like what's our business model going to look like more or less. All right. So then we want to work on our business model. So again, to start to sort out the business model, we want to know. So we're going to need those lifestyle constructs. And then we need to know, all right, well, how much money do I want to take home? Like what's my salary? What's my profitability? And then what does it take to get those things, right? So some of us, depending on your business model, you may need a team. If you're new, you might not just yet, but you may be working toward that. And so we want to figure out like so this way we kind of have the constructs for the business model. When it comes to business model, we also want to be thinking about what kinds of offers are going to go into there and whether or not we want to do like one-on-one, like high ticket consulting. Maybe we want to sell information, or we want to sell consulting, or we want to offer somebody something that's maybe like a little bit more, like a one-time thing, right? And sometimes we're going to want our clients to be our clients for a long time. Now, a lot of the business model is we're going to talk about when we get into the other side. So the business model, this will then give us the information we need. Well, what are we going to offer? What are our offer structures going to be? Am I offering something super high ticket? Am I offering something leveraged? Am I selling information? Are we writing books? What are we doing? Right? And then this is also going to help us to know where and how to market. Now, I want to say this because listen, when you start a business, the amount of ads that you will get, where to market, how to market, do you need Facebook ads? Should you have ManyChat? Do you need tracking software systems? Do you need ClickFunnels? Should you get Go High Level? Like there are 1,000 million choices to make around your tech suite, around how you're going to do your marketing, around what you're going to be doing. And this I want to point out, all of it works. This is the hardest thing. One of the things that took me the most time to realize and was like one of the hardest things for me to really understand was that all the marketing works. It all works. If you show up live every day, it works. You'll get clients. If you write emails and really grow your email list, that works. You'll get clients. If you don't do emails, but you do, one of those things where people chat and write a comment to do the ManyChat and they get your freebie and then you market to them that way. That works. If you do live events, that works. And I'm saying this because the number one question that fucks people up when it comes to building out a business is, well, what's going to make the most money the fastest? I'm like, it's the wrong fucking question. Stop it. It's the wrong question because every answer works. And so when you ask that question, it puts you in immediate impatience. Right. And so it takes you out of love with the process. You're just looking for a result as fast as you can. And oftentimes when somebody's asking me that question, they're switching strategies. They're always looking for a faster way. But it's like, if you just do anything long enough, it works. And so the thing about this is that your marketing or your sales, like how you're going to get clients, we want to figure that out. Like, how do you like to show up? Do you want to write? Do you want to be on video? Do you want to run paid ads? Do you want it to be organic? Right. And I'm like, each one of these kinds of marketing strategies of where you show up, like what platforms are you going to be, are you buying print media advertising? Are you going to do radio advertising? Are you going to show up on the socials? Each one of these things has like some upsides and some downsides. Right. But it all works. So we want to pick the thing that we actually want to do. Why? Because it's easier to stick with it. That's why. For a long time, I was successfully doing a lot of organic marketing. Well, I'll tell you, organic marketing is a ton of content creation and showing up live. And that's beautiful. And I actually love doing those things. But when you're on, like, let's say Meta platforms, I actually am just switching. Almost all of my content is going over to YouTube. So I'll have the podcast and I'm mostly going to be on YouTube. Why? Because people can search it. So the content lasts a little bit longer, lasts actually a lot longer. And like where I used to get a ton of free traffic, that's not exactly happening anymore. And I'm truthfully just unwilling to like play all the games with the reels and the strategies and the however it would take to get my stuff in front of the trending audiences. Like I want to teach what I have to teach, right? So it took me a while to get to this point where I had to like really admit, like, I'm actually unwilling to do it this way currently. So we have to find a way that we want to do the work. All right, this is going to be important. How do you want to do the work? And this plays into the offer structure. How do you want to do the work? Do you want your clients to have WhatsApp access to you? Do you want to do weekly group calls? Do you want to go see them in person? Like, how do you want to do it, right? I'll tell you, one of my mentors, brilliant fella, for a while was doing these very, very pricey one-on-ones for big companies where they would pay $50,000 and he would go look at their marketing for the day and teach their team and spend the day with them and map out a whole marketing plan. And then one day he says to me, he's like, I was on airplanes, like, I was away from my family or travel like 300 days last year. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. He's like, I made a ton of money, but I don't want to do that anymore. Like, this is not the life that I want to live. And this is why it's really important to start with those life goals, because as you get into your business, you will see so many opportunities. You will see opportunity, like you could choke on your success. And I promise you, if you're a successful person, people will be coming out of the woodwork to offer you opportunities like that. The level of you will get so many opportunities once you get started that literally like it could drown you. Right. And so this is where when we figure out what we really want, it gives us, that's the thing to align to when it comes to like your business model, your offer structure, and where and how you want to market. All right. So this is on the selfish side. This is on the what about me side. All right. So let's talk about the other side. So on the other side, we want to think, who are we serving? And I want you to really start with, who is my target audience? What is the result that they want, or what is the problem that I can help them solve? That's where we get started. All right. Because that's going to frame out what the business model needs to be to serve these people. So we have the constructs of the business model on what's in it for me. Like, how do I want to work? How many people do I want on my team? That sort of thing. But then it's like, well, how does this business serve this people? All right. And those two things are not mutually exclusive. There is for sure a way to get a business that serves you and serves the people, that you're serving. Right. So we have to think about it from both sides. Right. And this is why I want to just point this out, because if you have a business model that has no boundaries towards you and is serving people, the bigger it gets, the more exhausted you're going to be. And if you have a business model that's set up just for you, that's not really accommodating to your clients. It's going to be harder to make sales. Okay. So then we want to think about, all right, well, when we look at what problems they have or how am I serving them, what result are they coming to me for? Right? Like, people are going to essentially pay you to solve their problems. That's pretty much how service-based business works. It's like, like if you need a carpenter, the problem is you don't know how to do carpentry work, or you don't have time to do carpentry work, or you don't have the tools to do carpentry work, and you need this thing done. Right? So the carpenter is going to come in, it's going to solve your woodworking problem. If you're hiring me, it's because you want to grow your business. You want to take it to the next level. And maybe you're doing some self-sabotaging. Maybe you're getting in your own way. Maybe you're procrastinating. Maybe you know that you should charge, X amount of dollars, and you're charging a fraction of that, and you need some help to get out of your own way, right? So we all solve for different problems. All right. So then we want to be thinking about that offer. So how do we get them the result that they want? And basically, you kind of want to be thinking about, how do I get them that result, or how do I solve that problem for you in the smallest amount of time? And it's not like smallest cost in terms of the price that you charge, but it's like, can we do this faster? Do we need all of this, right? I'll tell you, I used to make this mistake in my business where I was trying to solve all of everybody's whole problems all at once. And so my offers would get really cluttered and kind of confusing, because I was trying to take people on a whole financial journey all at once. And that gets overwhelming for the buyer. And it also makes my sales process muddy, right? And so we want to if we have really clear alignment on these things, we don't make these rookie mistakes. And I didn't know all this stuff. I'm explaining it to you now because now I know. But for a long time, I was just out there in the world making rookie mistakes. And I don't want that for you. Okay. Now the offer is going to also, so your audience, your business model, your offer, these things all play into your messaging. Now, messaging is like one of the most important things that's going to happen in your business, because it's what you say in your marketing. It's how you talk to people. It's how you talk about their problems, their solutions, everything else. All right. So I'm just going to kind of go back through. So your audience is going to dictate, your business model to the extent of how you're going to serve the people, right? You're going to set the boundaries on the other side, but then what are we actually doing to help these people? Then you needed to make an offer that matches that audience. Now, your offer and the price of your offer both need to make perfect sense to that audience. All right. Now, I want to put this in because I want to talk about this, because a premium priced offer, which is what I suggest. If you're in business, I suggest selling a premium offer at a premium price, right? Because otherwise you have to do so much sales work. It takes a lot of work to get a new customer. So if you're doing a premium offer at a premium price, essentially you can not work yourself to the bone and still have a beautiful existence, a beautiful business. All right. Now listen, if you want to scale indefinitely, that's also fine. Some people want that. But I'll tell you, a lot of the people that I work with really want more. They want a few $1,000,000 a year. They want a 4-hour workday. And really, I'm into that. That's what I go for. Okay. So the offer, or the audience, the offer, the price, and the message, those things, they need to be in perfect alignment for stuff to move really, really smoothly, right? So when we're talking to your audience, when we look at that offer and that price, we need to know that this offer is going to help them to get that result, and that this price also matches the value of the offer, and that your people are qualified to buy it, essentially. So if we were to try to sell something very expensive to people who are not qualified to buy it, we're going to break a lot of hearts. This is going to be sloppy. We're going to feel discouraged because we keep getting price objections. People are going to really want what we've got, and they're not going to be able to buy it. All right. So these things, we have to really look at these things and really start to understand, like, in depth, our customers. Now, this takes us to the messaging, because the messaging is how you're going to convey the exact right segment of the buyers, right? Because there's going to be an audience bigger, right? Like, let's just say the audience that has the problem that you solve is going to be way bigger than the audience that part of the audience that's going to be qualified to buy it. So when you do your messaging, you want to be talking straight to the people who can essentially afford it and can see the value in it, right? And listen, not all price points are like, at certain price points, even if somebody can see the value, sometimes they can't pull the trigger. And sometimes you need to be at a certain level to receive the value of something. So like, look at years ago, I used to charge a very different amount that I would charge, and people would hire me and I would look at their transactions, and I would do that with my own eyes. I would read their transactions and I would give them customized advice on that. Well, now I charge a very different amount, and that it's hard to get the value out of that at the price point that I charge, right? Now, listen, if you hire me at the same price point that I'm talking about, and I help you to 10x your business, the price point is fucking phenomenal. So it just, like, I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down here. All right. So these are the things that we really want to consider as we're doing this business. So on the what's in it for me side, we want to be looking at what are my boundaries? What are my life goals? How do I want this business to feel? How do I want this business to look? Right. And this helps us to set up the boundaries, the constraints for the business model. And this, when you have this really clear, this helps you to create so much speed. And like, it's like discernment. You know, when you know exactly what you want your business model to look like and how that's going to impact your life, everything that's not that, you're going to want to say no to. And that creates so much speed and ease in your business. Clarity is really what creates ease in business. So this is really more of a clarity exercise, because when you get clear, then the rest of it is way easier, because you know what to say yes and you know what to say no to. All right. So from there, we're going to build out our offer structure. How do we want to deliver? Then we're going to go, where and how do I want to show up to consistently get clients? Do I want to do sales calls? How do I want to do it? And this, when you think about yourself as you do this, instead of asking the question of how do I get the money the fastest, you set yourself up for a long-term success. So this is really important, and most people don't really do this. They just go chasing the money. You know, and on the other side, then we have to be really altruistic in the way that we think about things, and we have to really love and care for our audience, so that way we can set up a business model that's there to serve them. And, you know, and this way we can fit in for people's lives, right? Like, what do they need? All right. Then this gives us the offer, so we know what result and what problem we're going to solve for people. But then we also need to be able to deliver that result in the structure of the container. All right. Then we do our messaging. You know, and then obviously we have our deliverables. We have our systems to build out in the back. We have our accounting and things like that. But really, if you think about these things from a high level perspective, you're going to be in a good spot to go forward and be able to make money and have a beautiful life, which is what we're here for. All right. I will talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.